The town library in Ashbridge was the kind of place people forgot existed. The lights hummed softly. The aisles were narrow. The carpet smelled faintly of rain, even when it hadn't rained in days. Evelyn, the night archivist, had worked there for 12 years. She preferred quiet places, and the library, especially after closing, felt like a sanctuary. She knew every shelf, every creak, every draft. Nothing surprised her anymore, until the Wednesday she noticed the missing book. It was an old habit of hers. Every night at 8 p.m. she walked the history aisle, checking that the rare collection remained untouched. She paused, as always, at section 12B and frowned. There was a gap. A book was gone. The ledger showed it hadn't been checked out since 1994. The Hollow Ones, Folklore of the Forgotten Territories. Evelyn sighed. Probably misfiled. She would find it later. As she continued her rounds, a soft sound drifted through the aisle behind her. A whisper, like the faint rustle of a page being turned. She paused. The heating system sometimes made that sound, she reminded herself. She kept walking. When she returned to the front desk, the book was sitting there, right in the center, closed, perfectly placed. Her stomach tightened. She hadn't heard anyone come in, and she certainly hadn't carried it there herself. She hesitated, then opened the book. A loose sheet of yellowed paper was tucked inside. It was handwritten, shaky and thin. "Do not stay past midnight." Evelyn almost laughed. Some prank by the day staff, maybe. The clock read 10:08 p.m. She had hours left. Still, she slipped the note into her drawer and returned the book to its shelf. But at 11:02 p.m. the sound started again, a whispering soft, continuous, like dozens of voices murmuring through closed mouths. Evelyn froze in the biography aisle. The sound wasn't the heating system this time. It was coming from everywhere. She walked toward the center of the library, trying not to panic. The air felt heavy, thick like warm breath. The whispering grew clearer as she approached the history section. When she reached 12B, every book was pulled halfway off the shelf, as if pushed by invisible hands. The whispering stopped. Evelyn whispered into the silence, "Okay, this isn't funny." One book slid out on its own, landing softly at her feet. The Hollow Ones. Her hands shook as she picked it up. The book fell open to the same page as before, but the note was gone. Now the words were written directly on the page. Midnight. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked up at the old grandfather clock near the lobby. 11:59. A single chime echoed through the library. Then another and another. The lights flickered. A gust of cold air swept through the shelves. The books trembled, then flew open all at once, pages whipping violently like wings. The whispering returned, louder, urgent, overlapping voices, all saying the same thing, but she couldn't understand the words. The air grew colder. Shadows stretched unnaturally, pulling away from the walls, gathering near the center of the aisle. Shapes began to form, thin, elongated, as if carved from darkness itself. Evelyn stumbled backward. Her breath fogged in the air. The shadows leaned forward, tall and silent. And then they whispered in a single, perfect voice, "Leave." The lights went black. When they flickered back on, the shapes were gone. The books were neatly shelved. The air was calm. Her key card scanned red for the first time in 12 years. Access denied. The cleaning crew found her sitting outside on the steps, shivering, staring at the library doors. She never returned. No one works the night shift anymore. And sometimes when people walk past the library after midnight, they swear they hear whispering inside. Emma, a college student, rents a cheap attic room in an old boarding house. The owner warns her, "Don't rearrange anything. The room resets itself." Emma laughs it off until her first night. At 3:17 a.m., she wakes up to a soft, dragging sound. The desk has moved 2 feet closer to her bed. She pushes it back. It feels cold, like metal left in snow. Before sleeping again, she whispers, "Who keeps moving this?" A faint voice repeats, "Who keeps moving this?" The furniture's in a completely different layout. The chair is facing the corner, the mirror is turned backward, and the closet door, always locked, hangs slightly open. Inside, she sees deep scratch marks, fresh ones. She reports it to the owner. He simply says, "It's starting again." The room has transformed again, but this time, it looks like someone copied her exact layout. But wrong. Bed placed too close to the wall. Carpet folded strangely. Pictures skewed at angles that hurt to look at. And sitting on the bed is a figure. Same height as Emma, same hair, same clothes, but its face blank. The figure turns its head with a stiff crack and whispers, "I fixed the room for you." Emma runs, but every door leads back to the same attic room, each version more distorted than the last. At sunrise, the owner finds the room perfectly clean. Emma is gone. The only thing in the center is a chair facing the corner, and on it sits a newly formed mannequin, wearing Emma's clothes. Raphael, a weary traveling salesman, pulled into the gravel lot of a desolate roadside hotel well after midnight. The neon sign flickered, casting a sickly glow on the peeling paint. As he checked in, the gaunt receptionist slid a key across the counter, his voice a dry rasp. "Just one thing," he warned, his eyes hollow. "Don't look into the bathroom mirror after 2 a.m. Exhausted and dismissive, Raphael just nodded, grabbed his key, and trudged to his room, the strange warning already forgotten. At 1:58 a.m., Raphael stood in the sterile bathroom brushing his teeth. He glanced at his reflection in the mirror, a tired man, same as always. But then he noticed something odd. A close-up would reveal his reflection's chest was rising and falling at a much slower, unnatural pace. He blinked, rubbing his eyes in disbelief, but his reflection didn't mimic the action. It just stared back. The clock on his phone screen ticked over to 2 a.m. Instantly, the single bulb above the mirror began to flicker violently, plunging the room into a strobing chaos of light and shadow. In the fractured light, his reflection's lips curled into a slow, sinister smile. Raphael wasn't smiling. The figure in the glass then took a deliberate step backward, receding deeper into the mirrored world, and beckoned with a single chilling gesture for Raphael to follow. The world inside the mirror warped. The clean hotel bathroom twisted into a dark, mold-infested ruin, the porcelain stained and the walls decaying. The reflection's voice whispered from the glass, a sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "Come see where you really stay." Panic seized Raphael. He lunged for the bathroom door, rattling the knob, but it was locked solid. He was trapped. The reflection pressed its hand against the inside of the mirror, and a ghostly cold handprint materialized on Raphael's side of the glass. An icy, unseen force clamped down on his wrist, pulling him inexorably toward the mirror's surface, which rippled like disturbed water. "Let go!" he screamed, but his voice echoed strangely, as if it were already coming from the other side. He was dragged halfway through the shimmering portal, his body contorting as reality tore. The next morning, hotel staff used a master key to enter the room after Raphael failed to check out. The bed was unslept in, the room pristine and undisturbed. A final, lingering shot focuses on the bathroom mirror. It reflects the empty room perfectly, but deep within its silvered surface, Raphael's silent, frantic reflection pounds against the glass, his screams unheard, forever a prisoner in the haunted mirror.